Welcome to this special interview from Arab News on the latest developments from Somalia. On December 29, 2025, Israel became the first to recognize Somaliland as an independent nation. In over 3 decades since its self-declaration of independence in 1991 from Somalia, no country had recognized the Northwestern Territory separate of Somalia. In this special interview with Arab News, we are speaking with His Excellency Daawood Awais Jama, Minister of Information, Culture and Tourism of Somalia, on the latest developments in the nation. Your Excellency, thank you for joining us. If you'll allow me to start with the very first question. There has been an overwhelming objection by most countries for unilateral declaration by Somaliland. What are the next steps that can be done by your government, and are you open to peaceful discussions on the topic with the other side?
And thank you very much for hosting me. And if I start with a background, it was a blatant violation of Somali sovereignty that Israel recognized a region within Somali Republic as an independent state. That was a total violation of international laws. It was a violation to the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Somalia. And we made it clear in our first statement that we are going to follow diplomatic channels, and we already started exploring those diplomatic channels as the first options to make sure that we go forward and try to find a solution to this unfortunate decision made by Israel.
As we've discussed, no country has recognized the Northern Territory of Somaliland in over 3 decades. What does it say that it is only Israel that jumped at the opportunity to recognize Somaliland? And what are the driving motivators you believe are behind this decision?
I think Israel doesn't have much knowledge about the reality on the ground. And that's why this separatist region, which was trying to secede from Somalia and did not get any recognition from any international actor. But at this time, we think that there are some issues that are driving the Israeli decision, including setting up a military base in that northern region, and also to use that area of Somalia soil as a place to settle forceful settlement of Palestinians from Gaza, and also to use Somalia soil as a place to wage war against other countries, something that is very dangerous to Somalia, very dangerous to the region, and risky also to the Gulf of Aden, the Horn of Africa, and the entire region, and that will also threaten the global stability. So this region has experienced a lot of suffering and the challenge for the past. We are now in the process of healing and trying to overcome all those challenges. So it was unfortunate to find out that Israel is coming with another challenge by importing foreign hostility and conflicts to this region, especially to Somalia.
And I want to speak to you specifically about the Palestinians right after this question, but you mentioned a threat to regional stability. What threat specifically does Israelis' recognition pose to regional stability? Like you mentioned on the Gulf region, particularly, what repercussions could there be on the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea trade routes?
This region is a very important region for the global trade. It is where the Bab el-Mandab is located. So if it becomes an area of conflicts, that means that the global trade will be will face a lot of challenge and implications, and it is going to be an area of fighting and endless hostilities that is not benefiting Somalia, that's not to the benefit of the region, and not to the benefit of the global trade and the global stability as well. So we think that the presence of Israel in this region is going to bring us a lot of problems, including importing foreign hostilities and conflicts that will add more fuel to the existing challenges in the region.
Your Excellency, you brought up the topic of Palestine and the Palestinian people. I'd like to ask you, what does this recognition mean for the people of Palestine? Israel has said it wants to, quote, resettle Gazans in a third country. Could this be Somaliland, and what's to stop that from happening now?
According to reliable sources that our intelligence gathered, is that one of the conditions that Somaliland accepted the recognition of Israel, or one of the conditions that Israel put forward, was to have a place that they can settle the people from Gaza to that area. And we find that it is a violation also to the people of Palestine, because we believe that the people of Palestine have their rights to have their self-determination, and the two-state solution that has been the call for the international community has to be adhered and also be implemented. So we think that it's something that Somalia will not allow, because to violate the rights of the people who have their own self-determination is not part of our principles. So our principle is to make sure that we have a global stability whereby justice prevails.
And I want to discuss key partners, global partners. What assurances, if any, have you received from key partners, whether it's the US, the AU, the EU, Arab League, OIC, about the continued recognition of Somalia's territorial integrity? And are you satisfied with the statements that you've heard so far?
From the beginning, our path was to follow diplomatic efforts, and we can start with the successful UN Security Council meeting that has supported Somalia's territorial and sovereignty, and followed by other international actors like the Arab League, the Islamic Organization Conference, the African Union, the regional bodies like East African Community and IGAD regional body, and yesterday also the Peace and Security Council of the African Union has reiterated the importance of supporting Somalia's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and also regretted and expressed their uncomfortable of Israel declaration of violating the Somali territorial integrity and the sovereignty. So we believe that this international support that we are getting from all corners of the world will help the situation to change, and will make Israel to renounce its declaration, which is actually bringing a lot of challenges to the region, and also putting more fuel to the ongoing challenges that are existing in the region. Especially in Somalia, we've been fighting with a terrorist group like Al-Shabaab and ISIS. So the presence of Israel will be used by the terrorist group to expand their operations in the region, and have a pretext of spreading their ideologies in the region. So that is another factor that is also risking the global security and the regional stability, because we have been in the last stages of overcoming the challenges of the terrorist group of Al-Shabaab and ISIS. But with this new declaration, it means that we are going to have more conflicts and hostilities in the region, and this time not only limited to Somalia, but it's going to be a challenge that is going to spread like a fire all over the region and all over the world.
And Your Excellency, that brings me to my next point, Al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab continues to threaten Somalia and the wider region, as you stated. Is Israel's recognition of Somaliland a distraction from counter-terrorism operations, and could it undermine the fight against Al-Shabaab?
Definitely yes, because we have been putting all our resources and all our time to make sure that we finalize the final stages of the fight against Al-Shabaab. So if something else interrupts us, that means that we are not going to focus fully to the operations against Al-Shabaab, and that means we are giving more chances and more opportunities to Al-Shabaab or the other organizations who are terrorist group in the region. And also this might invite the other external terrorist groups to the region, because they will take advantage of this crisis, and that they will make sure that they take over all the areas that they have been defeated before. So that is also another challenge that this declaration holds, because it is going to bring more problems to the region. It's going to undermine the efforts of fighting against terrorism in the region. So we believe that this has come to a time that is going to affect our security as a Somali government, the security of the Horn of Africa, the security of Gulf of Aden, the security of the Red Sea, the security of Middle East, and entirely the global stability also will be affected, since this is a very important location that holds the trade of the world.
And Your Excellency, you've mentioned the motives you believe Israel has for recognizing Somaliland Analysts suggest that Israel recognizes Somaliland primarily to secure a forward base against Houthi threats. My question is, Your Excellency, if Israel uses Somaliland's airspace to launch strikes against Yemen, is Somalia prepared to respond to these threats? And if so, how?
When I started responding to your questions, I mentioned diplomatic efforts. We mean that we need this thing to be resolved diplomatically. Yes, we believe that if Israel sets a military base in Somaliland region, that is going to affect our people in the northern regions of Somalia, because there will be attacks against civilians. And the people who have been overcoming 30 years of civil war and other challenges cannot take another burden of foreign hostilities and conflicts which they don't understand. So Somalia has made it clear that it will not allow its soil to be used to wage war against foreign countries, because that is going to be a threat to our people. That's going to be a threat to the stability of the region. That's going to be a threat of the global stability. So our warning has a justification that this thing cannot go ahead, and we need Israel to renounce its decision to make sure that we prevail with the stability that we are building in the region after many years of challenge.
Your Excellency, are you optimistic that Israel will renounce the recognition of Somaliland?
We believe that with all ongoing efforts, diplomatic efforts, and the discussions we are making with the international actors will put pressure on Israel to understand the reality on the ground. Once they understood the reality on the grounds, I believe that they will do so.
As we've seen in previous years, Israel has some of the world's most advanced surveillance technology and weaponry. Are you concerned this could be deployed against Somalia and its neighboring nations?
Entirely, we don't want this area to be a militarized area that will pose a threat to Somalia and to the entire region. So we believe, and we in our statements, we made it clear that Israel has to respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Somalia, and also adhere to international laws. We believe that every conflict that exists in this global can be resolved amicably and peacefully, but we cannot take such declaration and such actions happening inside on our soil, because we always have the principle of peace in this globe, and we cannot accept our soil to be used as an area of attacking other countries, and the repercussion will be very huge to our people, because this is going to be a very big problem to us.
Of course, and I would like to ask you about the recent events that took place. On Tuesday, Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar visited Somaliland, and on the same day, the Somali Ministry of Foreign Affairs released a statement condemning, in the strongest terms, the unauthorized incursion of the foreign minister, calling on Israel to immediately cease all actions. I want to ask you, Your Excellency, what are your viewpoints on this incursion?
I think that the statement issued by the foreign ministry was the position of the Somali government on that regard, expressing our concern and disappointment of the decision of the Israeli foreign minister to visit Somalia, because that was like an incursion or another blatant violation of Somalia's sovereignty, because Somaliland or Hargeisa is part and parcel of the Somali Federal Republic.
And in a recent interview with العالمية English, the president of Somalia said that the recognition of Somaliland by Israel is the, quote, biggest threat the country has faced in recent times. What is the effect on regional stability, as we spoke about previously, and also on the integrity of Somalia as a whole?
I think I explained when I started the interview that this has a multiple dimensions of threat to Somalia, because Somalia is healing from more than 3 decades of civil war and other challenges. The challenge that Somalia are facing are not limited to Somalia. These were also affecting the neighboring countries. We have been working with the neighboring countries to overcome this challenge. We have been working together. We also thank the Americans who have been standing with us for overcoming this challenge. So while you are on the line of finishing the job, if other challenges come up unnecessarily, that makes things in a very disappointment situation. And the threat that will have this new declaration of Israel of recognizing Somaliland region of northern Somalia as an independent state will definitely bring more local challenges, including infighting among the communities living in those areas. And this will also bring another hostilities being imported from abroad, like setting up a military base in Somaliland region that will be used against other countries. And then the groups who are operating in those countries will retaliate by attacking Somalia. And that will affect our people. It will affect their daily lives. And also it will affect our process of state building and overcoming the previous challenge. So we believe that the international community, with all the international actors that are there, will stand and support the cause of Somalia, because our cause is to make sure that we live in peace and stability in this region and friendly manner with all the stakeholders in the world.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I just have one final clarifying point regarding the people of Palestine. You stated that you have intelligence that, and can you clarify this point for me? You have intelligence that Israel's motives for Somaliland is to have Palestinians move there as a third location. What does the intelligence say directly, and is there a timeline where you feel this might take place?
We don't have more information on the timelines, but what we can confirm is that among the issues that made Israel to recognize Somaliland region is to make sure that Somaliland accepts people from Gaza to be settled there. So we totally reject that to happen, because we believe that the people of Palestine have their right of self-determination. They have a right to have their own state.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Those are all my questions. I appreciate your time and your insight.